Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. This is Geeta. Today we are going to see question number 2B of 10 marks. The accountant of Angat traders, they were unable to agree the trial balance. So what they did, they have transferred the differential amount to suspense account. Now before preparing the final accounts, they found some of the errors. So they have asked you to rectify the errors. Now, first point is goods of the value 15,000 returned by Aurora. So it is a sales return, but it was entered in the sale day book. What you do in the sales book? Sales book, you always write all the items. Sales book, you write all the items. You write only the name of the customer here, and then you go on write the amounts. And then at the end of the month, we total the amount and we post it to sales account credit. When you post it to sales account credit, suppose this amount is sales account credit and the name of the customer, suppose it is Aurora, we will be debiting Aurora. Okay, we'll be debiting Aurora. Here what happened, of course they have credited the sales account, but they didn't debit the Aurora account. Aurora account got credited. See, here it is, and posted therefrom to the credit of his account. So what would have happened in the trial balance? See, in the trial balance, how this would have appeared. First, you understand that. Here the sales account. Sales account, 15,000 would be appearing on the credit side. At the same time, the customer account, Aurora, will also appear as 15,000 credit. So there is no corresponding debit this side. Not for the sales account, there is no debit. For the customer account, there is no debit. So when they totaled the trial balance, the credit side, total of the credit side would have become excess of 30,000. So in order to adjust that, they would have operated the suspense account. Okay. Suspense account they would have posted with 30,000. Only you take this item. I'm not going with the total of the trial balance. Every item we will be considering it. So now we have to rectify the error. So what we should do? This suspense account is on the debit side. So we have to credit this. And what is the actual entry? Sales return is to be debited with 15,000 and this wrong entry. Customer is credited. Okay. So this is correct. As per sales return, we would have done sales return account debit to customer account. So this is correct entry. But this is a wrong entry. So we have to reverse this also. So correct entry is sales return account debit, sales account debit, which is a wrong entry, and the suspense what we have operated in the trial balance should get credited. I hope it's clear. So I made it for time convenience. The entry is here. Sales account is debited. Sales return account is the correct entry. Customer has to be credited. It was done already correctly. So the difference was posted to suspense account on the debit side. Now we have reversed the suspense account. In order to rectify any error in accounts, if it is appearing on the debit side, we have to credit it so that the amount becomes nullified. Okay. So goods returned by customer entered in sales day book and posted to the credit of the customer now being rectified. Okay, now moving on to the second item. An amount of 3,000 entered in the sales return book. Okay, sales return book, how we write? Sales return, we write all the items, we write the name of the person, we write the amount, description of the goods returned and the invoice number and the amount we write here. And at the end of the month, we total the sales return and we debit the sales return account and credit the customer. Automatically, when you debit this, the customer who has returned here will get credited. Suppose this is Radhe. Radhe has to get credited. Okay. So now what happened here? Of course, it is written in the sales return book. So this sales return has gone to the debit side of the trial balance. So in the trial balance, how this appeared, sales return appeared properly for 3000 rupees. Okay. And this Radhe should go to the credit side. But what they did by mistake, it is also debited Mr. Radhe. So Radhe also was in the debit side. Okay. I'm not writing in full. Radhe was also debited. So now what happened? There is no credit for this corresponding credit for this item. That should be Radhe here. And there is no credit for this also. So what would have happened? The total of the debit side must be more than the total of the credit side. In order to adjust that, they would have operated suspense account for 6,000 rupees. Now we have to correct it. How we have to correct it? Suspense account, we have to remove this from here. In order to remove in accounts, we have to debit. Suspense account has to be debited for 6,000 rupees. And who is to be credited? Radhe for double amount, because one is to nullify the debit which has already been done and one is the correct entry. Okay, hope it's clear. So now see the entries. So suspense account is debited. That's why I'm explaining you the trial balance, how this would appear in the trial balance. So that now what is the rectification? Suspense is debited to Radhe account. Goods returned by Radhe entered correctly in the sales return book and posted correctly in the sales return account, but the customer who has returned, Mr. Radhe, was to be credited. Instead of credit, he was debited. Okay. So this is now being rectified. Now moving on to the third item. Third item is wages of 4,600 paid to workmen for making furniture. It is charged to wages account. So here it's not a big issue because it is wages paid for making furniture. So this amount has to be capitalized. Capitalized means we have to add it to the cost of the furniture. It should not be booked as a wages. Okay. So this is a error of principle. Okay. So error of principle will not affect the trial balance. The trial balance will not get affected because either you debit in the name of furniture or in the name of wages. This is not going to make any difference because only the nomenclature is going to get changed. But in accounting practice, it is a error of principle because it should go to the capital expenditure, not as a wages account separately. So now what we have to do? We have to debit the furniture account instead of wages, and which was done in the before preparing the trial balance, the wages account should get credited. Okay. So now we did the furniture account debited because it is a capital expenditure. We have to add it to the furniture cost of furniture. So furniture account is debited and wages account is credited. Okay. Now moving on to the next item. Next item is a check of rupees 12,000 received from Janak Enterprises. This has been dishonored. What happens when you receive a check? What you do? You just debit the bank account and credit the Janak Enterprises. But here it has got dishonored. The moment it is dishonored, the entry has to be reversed. What we should do? We should debit Janak Enterprises. My hand is not still working properly because of fracture. Please bear with my writing. Janak Enterprises to be debited to bank account. This would have done correctly. But they didn't debit the Janak Enterprises. Bank account, you will never get mistake because All of you must be knowing that every day the cash and bank balances are reconciled. Okay, so 12,000 received from Janak Enterprises has been dishonored passed to the debit of allowances account. So here again in the trial balance only the nomenclature is different. Instead of Janak, debit allowances was debited. So now what we have to do? We have to remove the allowances account and bring the Janak Enterprises. To remove the debit of allowances account, we have to credit the allowances account and debit the correct person Janak Enterprises account with 12,000 rupees. So Janak Enterprises is debited to allowances account. This is the error. Dishonor is by mistake debited to allowances, now being rectified. Moving on to the next item. Goods amounting 1600 returned by a customer, JV Corporation, were taken into inventory, but no entry in respect thereof was made in the books. Yes, this is taken into inventory means generally in a factory, the shop, we call it as shop only. Even if it is a stores department where the goods are received, we call it as a shop. So these items, the goods would have got returned by a customer and directly it generally gets delivered in the stores department. So the in charge of the stores department will receive the inventory and we will be receiving the invoice for that. Okay. So when we receive the documents in the accounts department, they will enter the return, okay, into the books of accounts. So sometime it may happen that the papers are not reaching the account section. It is not just like that in a very big concern, because I worked in Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited as a manager finance, where the shop may be 3 kilometers away from the accounts section. So sometimes the paperwork may not be got it done on the same day, okay, or even for 3 4 days. So the same thing has happened. The goods have been unloaded in the shop. The inventory that was called as taken into inventory. They were taken into stock, but no entry is made in the books of accounts. It is a complete omission, so no worry at all. We are going to simply pause the journal entry. So this was, because it is of a complete omission, this was not affected by the trial balance. The trial balance would have not got affected by this. So we are going to make a fresh entry for sales return account and we will be crediting the customer JV Corporation account. Sales return account debit to JV Corporation account. Goods returned were taken into inventory. It not recorded or not entered, now being rectified. Whenever you hear the word not recorded, not entered, it means both the aspects are not entered, both the debit aspect and the credit aspect. But whenever you see posted, credited, debited, it means that one entry is wrong. Clear? So moving on to the next item. A second-hand motor car was purchased for 30,000 on 1st October and was debited to car maintenance account. And Angat traders charges a depreciation 15% per annum on written down value of vehicles. So what happened here also same problem, but only slightly one change is there. See here, they purchased a car. It should go to the car account. Instead of car account, it has gone to car maintenance account. But for this later, they say that this is 30,000. You can make separate entries, you can make combined entries. Car account and debit. The car maintenance was by mistake, it was debited. So you can credit the car maintenance account. So this car, okay, this we have to credit. Either you do like this and then you have to charge the depreciation separately. So for charging depreciation, it is the first time depreciation. You have to calculate the time period. It was 110.25. So you have to calculate the depreciation for 6 months on 30,000, 15% per annum. That comes to 2250. Okay. You make it 2250 and to car account. So what happened? The car will get credited by 2250, or you can make a combined entry. I made a combined entry. So in that case, car account will become debited with 27750 and depreciation will be debited with 2250. The total amount car maintenance will get credited with that. Hope it's clear to all of you. See here, whatever I made a combined entry, you can make two separate entries. It is up to your convenience. Motor car account debit 27750. Depreciation always give the working so that you don't lose marks at all. Then to car maintenance account. Car purchased on 110.25. That's why we have calculated for 6 months, 110 to 31st March 2026. Okay. Now let us move on to the next item. They purchased one they sold one furniture for 16,000. It is entered in the sales book. Again, same thing. Sales book, what happens? When we total the sales book, we just post it to, we post it to sales account credit. It will go to the sales account credit. But here it is not the goods, because in the sales book what we do, we only enter the goods. Goods means the items in which the proprietor is dealing with, only which is purchased for the purpose of reselling. Furniture, here it is an asset. So whatever the asset purchased or sold will be not entered in sales account, sales book. So this sales account has to be debited and furniture account has to be credited. Okay. So this is also not going to make any difference in your trial balance, because instead of crediting furniture, sales account was got credited. Okay. So now see the entry. Sales account you have to debit and credit the furniture account, because it is not an good which was sold, it is an asset which was sold. So it should not get entered into sales account. Okay. So now moving on to the eighth item, an amount of 8,880 due from Hemal. Here they wrote at whatever the name you can apply, which had been written off as bad debt in a previous year. See here what happens when you are closing in the previous year, a bad debt was declared and you have written off that bad debt. When you write off the bad debt, what entry you pass? Bad debt account debit to sundry debtor account. So bad debt debit to that customer, sundry debtor. So now this fellow is no more in your books because it is written off. So this fellow is not at all appearing in your books. All of a sudden next year this fellow comes and makes you the payment. Now you cannot credit him because you have already credited this fellow. So what you should do? You receive the cash, bank account debit to bad debt recovered account. That means a gain for the company. So you can't record this fellow because he is no more in our books now as a debtor to credit that fellow. He is already been credited in the previous year. So what they did, by mistake, they have credited his personal account. So now we have to debit this personal account and credit bad debt recovered account. Why? I made you clear. Okay. Hemal or Hetal account debit to bad debt recovered account. Bad debt recovered posted to personal account now being rectified. Okay. Now next item is the discount allowed in cash column. of the cash book was not posted. See here what happens. In the cash book, I'll just give you one example. In the cash book, suppose I'll give you this one itself. Cash book, a customer is making as payment after getting a discount of 2,500. Okay, 2,500. Suppose he is making payment for 50,000. So he got a discount of 2,500. So he made the payment of 47,500. This is the amount received. Okay. And this amount gets totaled and then goes to the trial balance. How it goes to the trial balance? Cash account will get debited or bank account will get debited, and the customer would have got credited with 50,000. See here. Customer will got credited with 50,000. But bank or cash account will appear with 47,500. Okay. And discount should appear 2,500. Then this would have got matched. But this discount was not appearing. Okay. So the total would have not matched. So that in the trial balance, credit would be more 2,500 more than the debit side. Then what they would have done, they would have operated the suspense account for 2,500. So now what happens? We have to rectify it. Instead of suspense, we have to debit the discount allowed account and credit the suspense account. Discount allowed account debit to suspense account. Hope it's clear to you. Now the last one is 3,500 paid towards mediclaim insurance of the proprietor. Anything paid on behalf of the proprietor is a drawing. You know very well that this is charged to employees benefit expenses account. By mistake, this has gone to employee benefit expenses account. So it is, instead of debited to drawing account, it was debited to employees benefit account. So the total of the trial balance will tally. There will not be any problem. Only thing is that it's again an error of principle. What we have to do, we have to remove the employee benefit expenses account and debit the drawings account. To remove, what we have to do, we have to credit the employee benefit expenses account and debit the drawings account. Drawings account is debited to employee benefit expenses. The amount paid towards the mediclaim of the proprietor wrongly charged to employee benefit expenses now being rectified. Hope all these items are clear to all of you. And if you like my videos, please do not forget to leave a thumbs up. And if you are watching me for the first time without subscribing, please do subscribe, which will cost nothing to you. Thank you for watching my videos.